Yes. Yes. What goes on? Yeah. Episode 22. Made it to another. We keeping it going. At the tap in. Commuters. Open. Mic. And I'm happy to be here and fortunate to grace these YouTube airwaves, Facebook airwaves, any type of airwaves. It's all a blessing. I'm mad though, because I was using the restroom and then I dropped my do-rag on the floor, like inside out, so I can't even put it on right now. I gotta wash it. So I gotta drive with. I mean, I could not rock a hat, you know. But we could do that. I ain't got to be cool all the time, but you figure if you got the smooth Bill Cosby / Mr. Rogers music in the background, you know, you got a 47-year-old black man. It's only right to have the hat to match. But I don't like wearing hats if I don't have a do-rag underneath, because it just feels uncomfortable. I sweat a lot, you know. We try to rock it for a little bit, and then when it gets too unbearable, I will switch. Now I'm noticing the position of the sun is he gonna let me go? I'm noticing like the position of the sun is it's a little bit higher now. Maybe you know what I'm saying? A few weeks ago it was more on the horizon around this time, but I guess with what is it? Did we lose I guess with losing daylight savings, it's not as in my face going home, so I don't gotta throw the shades on. I don't gotta throw no shade because it ain't no sun. It's right above me, you know. I guess the later it gets, it'll be more on the horizon, but at this time of the day, it's not on the horizon as much. So y'all can see my beautiful eyes. But when I take these glasses off, I can't see you. All this is blurry. This look foggy as a mug, man. Aging eyeballs. That's what happens when you get older, you know. Things start to be not as optimal, but that is a part of the process. Instead of looking at your physical limitations as a curse, or you know, when your body parts start to be not as optimal, instead of seeing it as a drawback, just see it as a part of the evolution of you going into the next stage of whatever it is that you're going to be. When a caterpillar goes into a cocoon, right, it completely liquefies, loses its legs, it loses everything. It literally becomes this gooey soup that can't really do anything because it is locked into that sarcophagus or that cocoon. But that cocoon and the soup, I don't know how it works, but it has all the genetic code and the blueprints of it becoming a butterfly, you know. But it has to go into that liquid state, that it seems useless. You know, if you cut that sarcophagus open, it'll just drip out and be worthless. But it goes into that into that protective shell, and then it just develops. And once it comes out of that shell, it is something far greater than what it was before it went in. And I say that to say this: yeah, our bodies are starting to break down a little bit, and we're starting to slow down, and eventually we will go into that shell, that coffin, so to speak, and we metaphorically we will become some type of liquid. Our atoms will redistribute and be a part of something else. What it is that we'll be a part of? I think part of the joys of existence is not knowing what you're going to be and being surprised with whatever it is that we become on the other side. And not being married to the idea that this consciousness and these thoughts right here, this memory will be intact when we become that other thing. We existed before we was here. We're going to exist when this ego no longer exists. Because we existed before we were here. So why would the existence stop just because this particular form stopped? And I'm being a little deep. I think the older I get, the closer I get to that transformation, to that caterpillar cocoon stage, I tend to ponder on it more. But from an early age, we're all taught fear. We're all taught that we have a limited amount of time on as far as life, which we do in this physical form. We're taught to fear it. We are taught that, we should worship or adhere to whatever God or whatever system of beliefs. And if we don't, we'll get punished for not having an opinion that cannot be proven. Or we're taught that it's such a bad thing. How could death is as common as life. How could something that is as common as taking a boo-boo be feared so much? It's literally like, and by that I mean death. And I prefer to call it transformation. It's literally something that every human being in the history of humanity has went through. It's literally something that every human being is going to go through. Yet it is literally something that we are all, well, not all of us are taught that, but I would say many in the Western civilization and many that adhere to monotheism. Monotheism meaning the belief in one God. Whether you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in Jehovah, whether you believe in Allah. They all believe in one God. Most of us that have that mindset of beliefs, all of us fear death in one way, shape, form, or fashion. All of us are moved and motivated by death in general. We got to do this or we're going to die. We got to do this or we're going to die and go to hell. You know what I mean? And it's just, to me, that's just such a scarcity mindset to have in existence. I think the people that are the most free are the people that aren't shackled by the fear of death. Now, just because you don't fear death, I'm not saying you got to live reckless, or like some of these extremists who believe that by sacrificing themselves that they will receive some type of reward in the afterlife. I'm not saying that either. To me, that's the opposite of the extreme. Opposite of the extreme. You can have an apathetic sense like, well, this is the only life we have, so let's make the most of it. Or this is the only life we have, so why live it? Or if I do this, I'll get, and sacrifice my life, I'll get this reward. All of it is tied to death. The motivation shouldn't be tied to death, man. In any way, shape, form, fashion. That's just my own personal philosophy. You should be motivated just by embracing this experience. Whatever this experience is, that should be the motivation. You existed beforehand. You did. Because the atoms that compose us are as old as time itself. It's been proven. So if you existed before this, you will exist after this. You don't remember what happened before, so you shouldn't wonder or worry about what's going to happen after. The main point is just experiencing this experience. Taking in this experience, appreciating this experience as much as possible, just like you appreciated all the experiences that predated. Or you know what? Let me take away the word appreciation. Just like you experienced all the experiences before you came to this point, the point is to experience this experience, and then whatever we could become, once our atoms redistribute into whatever form that we become, we will experience that experience. That's what it's all about. If human beings didn't have such a scarcity mindset, oh, this is my land, this is my legacy, I want to leave this for these people, I want to do this. If people weren't just married to the ego so much, this world would be entirely different. If people as a whole didn't fear death as much, or didn't loathe over death as much, this world would be entirely different, man. It would be completely different. And I feel like the more studying I do, the people that seem at ease the most and at peace the most were philosophers, man. Yeah, they had their demons. Alan Watts was an alcoholic, but overall, he just seemed at peace. Carl Jung, Neville Goddard, just to name a few. And the the more I delve into this, like the less angry I am. It's just, this is just an experience. These are the cards that life has handed me, and I'm not as angry anymore, not as anxious anymore. I'm still human, so every now and again it'll pop up. The anxiety will pop up, but overall, man, I'm just enjoying this ride, baby. And thankful for having it. Thankful for having the majority of my faculty. Yeah, the eyes is a little fuzzy, but it could be way worse. I could be blind. And if I was blind, I would just appreciate the world in another way, like Stevie Wonder. Some of our greatest artists and greatest minds throughout history had some type of major either mental defect or physical limitation. Yeah, I'm being too deep. I know I'm being deep. I know this is the Commuters Tap In open mic, but sometime when I'm monologuing, I got a monologue, man. When I'm monologuing, I got a monologue, man. Belong begins with us. Belonging begins. They got a black Spider-Man next to the white Spider-Girl, the cartoon, and they said belonging. I guess so. But yeah, man, that's the monologue. It was certain things I was pondering. You know how white folks play. I'm not racist. I have black friends. Do you know when you say that makes you look way more racist? There's a million. Like, first of all, if somebody asks you, "Are you racist?" What you gonna say? Yeah, you should just say yeah. Just say yeah. You know what I mean? Just yeah. I'm very racist. I hate black people, white people, Asian, Chinese, whatever. Like, how could you even dignify that with an answer? You reveal you're not racist by your actions, not by what you say. When somebody asks if you are racist, you can only, and if you respond to that directly, all you can do is just make yourself look more racist. So it's best to just flip it back on them. Are you racist? I'm like, what do you think? Do my habits exhibit that of a racist? What are some of the things that racists do? Whether directly or have I lynched anybody? Have I prevented someone from getting a job? Have you heard me use a racial epithet? Is your perception of being racist more about how I'm being or what you think? I'm still being deep. I feel like racism is therapeutic, though. I feel like racism is necessary. I feel like racism is as much of an experience as apple pie and baseball. I'm not talking about disenfranchising anyone. I'm not talking about harming anybody. But like, if you're a white person, and your boss is a jerk to you at work, or you on your way home, you commuting home, and somebody cut you off in traffic and they're not of your ilk, it is a natural human reflex to want to say a few choice words, And if you keep it bottled in, it's like poop. It builds up in your body. It builds up in your body. It builds up in your body. You got to let it out. Take a dookie at home. Say the N-word at home. Now that I have given white folks permission to say the N-word at home when black folks piss them off, some of y'all going to take it too far. Y'all going to be saying it so much, it's going to sound like the music at the beginning of Pulp Fiction. And I will rain down with fire, anger, and fury, and you will know my name is the Lord when I bring my vengeance upon thee. End scene. You can say that as much as you want, but I would advise that you say it in the house, just like you wouldn't poop in public unless you're insane, unless you have booty Tourette's. Don't say the N-word in public unless you have Tourette's. And this is my thing about Tourette's. Why Tourette's always make you say the most negative things possible? Why ain't never hear positive Tourette's? You're so beautiful. I think you're gorgeous. You're the handsome, most positive person I've ever seen in my life. You're going to be a star. You're going to be a winner. You are great. You can definitely be president of the United States. You never hear that, man. There's always this saying, you're fat. You're ugly. You're bald. That's Tourette's, man. To me, Tourette's is just liberty for people to be a-holes. some people are a-holes and they use like a mental illness as an excuse, essentially, for just being a douchebag. Some of the most manipulative people I've ever seen in my life were people with handicaps, man. I don't want to go. Nah, I'm not gonna go. Yeah, I ain't gonna go there. I can see a mental tangent about to happen. You know, I can see. Nah, I'm not. That's not my style. I ain't gonna go there. Yeah. I've heard other comedians do stuff along those lines, so I'm not. That's just stream of consciousness that's popping in my head. So nah, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. Racism, man. Like they've been saying we was gonna get reparations forever. You know what I mean? Black folks built this country. We were definitely put behind the 8 ball, and we definitely had a terrible start. Like, white folks have a 400-year lead on us. So the least they can do is give us those reparations, man. And give our, just for having such a lead. And I'm talking about American whites that had something to do with racism. I ain't talking about some Slavic person or some Irish person that came here in 1920s that had nothing to do with slavery. No, I'm talking about the English, the settlers, the Spaniards that enslaved black folks. I'm talking about them. And they've been flirting with the idea of giving us reparations, but what they try to do to be slick is they give us consolation prizes. Like they make James Bond black. You know, they make Batman black. They make Superman black. And we supposed to be happy with all that nonsense. Nah, man. Bump that. Cut the damn check, man. And as recently, they've been entertaining the idea of putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. And I think that is a fantastic idea of putting her on the currency because we built this country. You know? The one question I have about that photograph, and I know a lot of individuals think it, but they dare not have the courage to ask it. So I'll ask, is that the best picture that they have of her? Because her face looked real angry. You know? You mean to tell me she never had happy moments like I freed the slaves player? You know? They had photography in Harriet Tubman's day. Took a long time to shoot. Burn your face, man. But they definitely had the photography. And then, like, how they gonna use the wanted picture on the money? That seemed like a conflict of interest. I'm going to a bank and I'm about to take about $100 in all 20s, and as I walk in, I see Harriet Tubman's face on the wall as being historically wanted. Then I see her same face when I get my currency. Not only are we owed reparations, but she's owed royalties. You can't have her wanted face on the money. Plus, when I look at that portrait, the expression that she has, it looked like she judging me for things I shouldn't be buying. You gonna buy that Hennessy? You know you got high blood pressure. You gonna buy that ice cream cake? You know you got type 2 diabetes. And I can't see myself using a Tubman 20 at a strip club, a black strip club with booty black strippers, big booty black strippers, Magic City or something like that. Because it's like, when I stuff it down her G-string, it's almost like I'm putting Nana next to Nana. And I can't see myself using the Tubman 20 at a gas station in Mississippi. I get my Dentine Ice, I get my Red Bull. The clerk, look at the 20, look at me, look at the 20, look at me. We don't accept these kind around here, boy. That there is counterfeit. Don't you mean counterfeit? No. Counterfeit. We only accept cracker currency and it's counter. It's funny, as I'm leaving Springfield, I think it's in the town of, I think Lowell, Mass. This bridge overpass, and there's always people on the bridge with banners and stuff protesting Trump. What is that? How does a highway protest move the needle on anything? Like it says no forever wars, the Epstein files and all this. I'm like, is that really gonna change anything, man? Like, some people just need something to do in their life, man. They probably got a dirty house, a dirty car, kids don't love them, 400 credit, and they musty. But you know what? They protesting for the government, though, against the government. So, that make them feel good. Like, listen, man, get your credit together, take a bath, and clean your room. If you can show me you have those 3 things, then you are eligible to protest. If your room is dirty, you are not allowed to protest. I'm sorry. I know their room is dirty, man. I know it for a fact. You standing outside all day, I know your feet stink and your breath stink and your room is dirty. You standing outside all day in a blue state protesting Donald Trump. Like, you know what? I like Donald Trump, right? But then when I saw this banner that said no more forever wars, I was like, you know what? I don't like him no more. People are so corny, man. And Caucasians is kind of crafty, man. Because they actually put Maya Angelou. You know Maya Angelou is? World-renowned poet. And they were talking about putting her, not talking about it, they actually put her portrait on the back of the quarter. Her portrait is on the back. The engravement of her face is on the back of the 25-cent piece, man. And if you know anything about Maya Angelou, before she became an activist and a world-renowned poet, she was a lady of the evening and eventually became a madam. She had to do what she had to do in order to get where she needed to be. But if you know anything about the quarter, on the front of the quarter is George Washington. On the back of the quarter is Maya Angelou. I was like, yo, man, Caucasians are definitely crafty. Because even in her death, there's still a white guy that's on top of her. This is crazy, man. If you flip the quarter, man, it's almost like 3D porn. It's like Angela Washington, Angela Washington, Angela Washington. I'd imagine like Maya Angelou and George Washington got the same voice too. I never heard George Washington's voice, but whenever they do an impersonation of George Washington, it's like 70 years ago, ask not what you can do for your country. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And Maya Angelou's voice, still I rise. You got the voice like Palpatine from the Emperor from Star Wars. Still I rise. Ask not what you can do. So they were smart. They were smart to put her on the quarter. They got the same voice. You know what I mean? They both bald. No, it's not. See, now I'm going too far. I was about to call Maya Angelou bald-headed like George Washington because they both wear wigs. See, now, yeah, I didn't. It took a bad turn. This is not how to joke. I'm not going to call Maya Angelou bald-headed on stage, especially in front of a room full of black people. I'm not going to compare her to George Washington saying they both had the same hairstyle because they both wore wigs. I'm not going to say that. I said it here, but I'm definitely not going to. I'm not going to. I got standards. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to take it that far. I'm terrible, man. I know. I'm terrible. Any other jokes I wanted to work on? Because those are two I didn't do. And then, okay, all right. Caucasians is definitely kind of crafty. You know what I never understood? Why are white folks so afraid, overall as a whole? Why is this a perception that white folks are afraid of black folks? White folks will run ass naked with lions, climb through the mountains with just powder on their hands and hard shoes, like spiked shoes, and skydive. But they scared to walk down Crenshaw at 4 in the morning. I mean, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you should be scared to walk down Crenshaw at 4 in the morning. But you got, like, overall, what grand historical thing have black folks done to make white people as a whole so afraid of them, man? We ain't got no kind of power, man. I don't understand why they're afraid. That's just some TV-ish, man. It's nonsense, man. You know. Yeah, we got a couple of notorious villains. We got Idi Amin. You know, we got the DC snipers. Even though his conviction was overturned, we got Bill Cosby, man. White folks got way worse people, man. Y'all got Charles Manson, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer. Yo, notorious evil people did far worse things than our notorious evil people, man. As a matter of fact, you can put every evil black person historically that we know of combined. None of them will equate to the person that made the atomic bomb. That's the most diabolical thing ever created in history, and it was made by people of the alabaster complexion. So again, I ask, why is y'all so afraid of this, man? I know it's probably some freaks that watch this. You ever watch Japanese pornography? You ever notice how the genitals are always pixelated? That's not animation. That's deformities. Radiation, man. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm just playing, man. It's Japanese culture that men are not allowed to show their penises because they aren't that favorable in size, man. If an Asian man knows, if a Japanese man specifically knows that you saw his penis by accident, it's like dishonor to his village and his family, you know what I'm saying? You gotta commit seppuku, man. You know what I mean? You see, if you go to the bathroom, you see an Asian dude's penis on accident. Like, oh my God, you saw my dick. That's for my family. That joke is extremely racist, but I just wanted a reason to say the word seppuku. You dishonored my family. And I wanted to say family, but pronounce the L with the letter R. You dishonored my family. Yeah, that's extremely racist. But I'm racist. I just made, y'all gonna judge me, but I literally just made fun of Harriet Tubman's face, and I literally just said that Maya Angelou had the same wig and the same voice as George Washington. So if I can make fun of that, come on, man. I have the leeway and the liberty to make fun of whoever. I make fun of my own first, and then this open season on everybody else. Listen. That's all I wanted to do for y'all. Wanted to work some stuff out. I got really very, 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 very deep and philosophical in the beginning. YouTube keeps, not YouTube, but Instagram. Not Instagram, damn it. I'm having an old man. I'm having a 47-year-old moment. Facebook keeps suppressing everything, so I'm definitely going to have to take some measures to open my page up. Because I'm putting out some content, man. More people need to watch this and see this and chime in. I can talk for hours and hours and days, but I need an audience, you know? I need an audience. It's time to take this to the next level. To my younger comedians, like I always say, man, if you're really trying to do this, eat, sleep, and breathe it, practice it in one way or another every single day. There is no such thing as writer's block at the universe. If the comedy gods are not giving you anything to write, that is the comedy gods' way of telling you to practice and work on things that you already have written. Hey, with that being said, I'll let y'all, man. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Peace.